Welcome to a special episode of the African Five-A-Side podcast, and I'm very, very happy to be joined by Coach Fadlu Davids of Raja Casablanca. Coach, thanks for having me in Casablanca.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we're in Casa in the midst of the African Cup of Nations. Special time for me. My favorite time of my professional career is when I get to cover the AFCON. What's it been like for you being in one of the host cities while the competition is taking place?
Yeah, so there's a different buzz in Casa at the moment. Well, actually, in the entire Morocco. So it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to coach one of the biggest clubs while the AFCON is on, and to see it live. I haven't been to any live matches yet. We're busy with training, but hopefully in the latter stages, definitely go. But a fantastic experience, to have the AFCON here in Morocco at this moment is really special. And everybody was worried about the rain, but the stadiums are holding up. Fantastic pitches,
Seriously.
really world-class facility. So, we've had it with the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, and the league benefited from the stadium. And I was telling my staff today, really excited to play in these stadiums for the rest of the season. So
Definitely, and for the years to come.
yeah, it's a really a fantastic achievement by Morocco so far to have these stadiums ready and really show that these world class facilities can host, and the way we are hosting this, and I say we as Morocco, we're hosting it. Fantastic to be here.
Have you, I'm assuming you haven't had the time to watch every single match all the time, but have you been maybe impressed with a specific team or player so
Yeah,
far?
of course. At the moment, Morocco will always be one of the favorites, being the host. But I'm really impressed with Senegal. They're really dynamic team, really fluid in terms of their passing, and really aggressive in the final third. They're a team that probably looks the most dangerous at the moment at this stage of the tournament.
Definitely. Um, South Africa. For the longest period of time, South Africa at the AFCON has been synonymous with disappointment.
Yeah.
2 years ago, third place finish under Hugo Bruce. And since then, Bafana have been, in my opinion, one of the more impressive sides on the African continent.
You have to give Hugo Bruce credit. He's transformed the national team. He transformed. It's a little bit like where Jurgen Klopp came to Liverpool. Turning doubters into believers, and he received a lot of criticism in the beginning, and slowly but surely stuck to his guns. He was really clear with his decisions, what he made. Not always choosing the best players, but putting the best team on the pitch. I was really impressed with how he handled not only the media, but whenever the players stepped onto the pitch, you could see an energy, a grit, a fight, and speak to some players who have played under him, and they're quite impressed. So, uh, quite optimistic this time around that we can go all the way to the final. But let's hope for Morocco South Africa final. That will be the ultimate.
I wouldn't hope for that as an Algerian player. But yeah, that'd be a hell of a match. Have you learned anything from his management over the last 2 years? It seems like one of the main things has been, first of all, strict discipline.
Yeah.
We saw that recently with the Mbokazi episode. But then also, as you say, like Temba Zwane is a superstar, and he was playing incredible football. And initially, I think everybody was puzzled by the idea, for example, when he was in form of not selecting him. And I understood the logic. At least he explained it to the media. Oftentimes, coaches, I think, don't have clear communication. But he says, I need to plan for the coming years ahead. He's 34 years old, etc. And then he changed his mind because he started playing well. He changed his mind. He brought in Shishi, and then I like the flexibility. I like the clear communication, and I like the point that he had an idea of what he wanted in his mind.
You similarities to Ruben Amorim now at Man United with sticking to his system and now being flexible to think about changing to a 4. How Hugo Bruce has done it with and sometimes you see a player playing for his club, but training with the player you see different qualities. And I'm sure the first time we called him up to the squad and he saw the type of qualities that Temba possessed, he knew he was so vital, despite his age, because he was talking about AFCON and he was talking about World Cup and what type of players he wants for that. And some players are going to be too old, but not to play like Temba Zwane, and being able to, when he was really strong and coming out and saying, I will not listen to the media, I will do what I believe. And nothing wrong with believing later on that Temba was the man. And we see it now similarly with Lorch. And who's to say that Lorch might not be at the World Cup?
Yeah.
It's so Really admire Hugo Bruce for how he's handled the position, because it's not an easy position. Underperforming South Africa for many years and years after the 96 triumph. So a huge credit to him, and how he's maintaining it and keeping. On the other hand, he's got a huge influx of talented attacking players, to choose from. Just if you talk about the last match, you don't start Rele. He doesn't come on, and you bring two wingers on, Mokwana and Moremi, and you don't even bring Rele on, and already the impact, and Rele is going to play his part, and he's probably one of the best players in the Bafana team. But how he's managed the situation, he sees the training, he sees the mentality. So we've got to back him, we've got to trust him. He's earned it. Not any coach coming in has earned the trust of the South African public. So let's support him, and let's hope we go all the way.
Just one more question on Bruce. The main narrative from us lazy journalists last time at the AFCON was, yeah, but 8 out of the 11 players, play for Mamelodi Sundowns, so you just have to plug and play.
Yeah.
And then this qualification campaign, particularly the World Cup, I remember the Nigeria match in particular, entire backline was changed. He brought in Gazana, Kabini, Bokazi came in, even Kalisa Mudau was not playing as well. So completely different backline. Foster came in after coming back to Bafana, and a lot of these players were new, and this was the most important game of World Cup qualifying, and he completely changed the team. Very few Sundowns players, I think only Tebza and that's it, I think, because there was Mbule, there was maybe the Mbata was, I don't know. But the point is, like, he completely changed the team, and they still managed to maintain that identity. What do you make of that?
Yeah, look, for his early part of his tenure, you have to say that he was smart to play the Sundowns players, because they have the CAF experience. They play these matches every week. They get to semi-final and finals of Champions Leagues, and that was the core nucleus of his team. And as soon as he created this culture within the squad, then he was able to change. And at a period of success of Pirates as well, probably looked into that as well last season, semi-finalist, and all these young players getting early exposure to CAF. And once he has that culture in the team, then it's easy to change, because the culture remains. So yes, he used the Sundowns success and the Sundowns experience in the beginning, which was very smart.
Like to lay foundations.
Exactly. And now that Pirates are also having this CAF experience, young players having early CAF exposure, and mostly South African lineup, not a lot of foreigners in the Pirates lineup. So and now you see 9 Pirates players, a little bit less Sundowns, but he was able to build that culture. And once you have the culture and the foundation, then you're able to do and make changes and still have the same structure within the team. So again, a huge credit to him.
Obviously, you follow international football. It's clear. What do you think about coaching international football? I'm not asking you if you want the Bafana job right now. I just mean, like, at some point in your career, is it of interest to you? Because there are technicians like yourself, I think. Definitely, I interviewed Rolani on his channel a few months ago, that seem like so enamored with being with their players on a day-to-day basis, being on a training ground on a day-to-day basis. Whereas with national teams, you're going away, your players are going away, sometimes for months at a time. And it's much more about maintaining relationships from a distance, and using those sometimes 3 or 4 training sessions to try and maximize as much as you can during that international break. Is that of interest to you, or not so much?
If I'm honest, probably a year or so ago, I'd say no. But really, Nagelsmann and Tuchel has changed that mindset a little bit, that you can go into a project. And there was some talks with being at this AFCON on my side as well. And it interests me, of course, being at a tournament like this, being at the World Cup, being at the AFCON, being at the Euros. Of course, these are major tournaments. What I would like to change, and I said I'm going to change it as well when I'm in this CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup, is you see so many one-sided games, and international football seems a little bit more reserved. When you see the Champions League away from home and home, there's a huge discrepancy in how the team plays. More defensive in a block when they're away from home, and more attacking and open, and vice versa. And international football, you see the same. But Thomas Tuchel, Nagelsmann are beginning to change this narrative that we have our style, we have our philosophy, we can choose the players we want. And quite interesting. Yes, you want to be with your players on a daily basis, but an example, I came to Raja, and for training sessions, I had to play my first match. So that's more or less what you do on a national team basis. But you get to choose your players, you get to choose your squad, you get
Yep.
you choose exactly the type of right fullback you need for the next two matches that you're going to play, thinking long term, thinking short term, and building the country and having the entire country on your shoulders, to create this hype, to create this vibe, to create this anticipation for the next match and being proud and patriotic for your country. Of course, it's very, very interesting.
Because for me, and this is the final question about the AFCON, that is the trade-off, is like, okay, there must be something very gratifying and rewarding about being at a club and implementing a philosophy and creating a team in your image. But I don't think anything quite compares to the entire nation being behind you, and even though it's once every 2 and now I guess every 4 years, that must be like incredibly humbling and gratifying as well.
Yeah, look at you talk about the technical side of the game, the tactical side of the game, and in your club you can apply your principles. But I think from a national team perspective, you can choose the players more to fit your
Right.
system and your philosophy, and with the ball, without the ball. So you can really create a team with your image, with keeping in mind that the pressures of international football. Your selection, every selection will be questions,
Criticized,
and
yeah.
how Hugo Bruce managed it. It's a perfect case study for for coaching courses to take and look and see how handle and analyze what he did, what he said, what he applied, the application of what he did, and it's so fascinating.
So I've heard you speak in many interviews before, and yeah, we talk about man management and the essentials, and having to the importance of knowing a player's personality. Do you have to scream at them? Do you have to put an arm around their shoulder? And everything has to be tailor made. For me as a journalist, it's something similar. I think I really have to try and get a good interview. I have to try and get a feel for the person, and even to try and analyze you as a coach. I think I have to try and get a feel for you as a person. I found very little about your background as a man, as a human. And so, if possible, if you'd permit, I'd like to learn more about that. One of the only things I know is that you grew up in Athlone, if that's the correct pronunciation, in Cape
Yeah,
Town,
yeah.
a Cape Town suburb. Did you grow up in a working class family, child of immigrants? No parents?
No
What can you
way.
tell us?
I grew up in a middle class family, but we in Athlone, we're on the brink of there's Athlone and there's Manenberg. And if you talk about the Cape Flats, that's Manenberg is probably one of the most dangerous areas in South Africa. I talk about Cape Town. And I basically had two sides of my family. My mother's side, there was a little bit middle class, and my father's side, from the streets. So, I could see both sides of Cape Town. The Cape Flats, the rough part, and the working class part. So, I've got my father to thank probably for me becoming a professional football, because uh, instill that discipline, that never say die attitude, that work ethic. So we'd have training sessions. He'd drive me to individual training sessions on my own, give me a bag of balls and say, work on your skills. And I'll be there shooting balls and doing it myself and my brother. And that's how I think I was probably not the most talented, but that work ethic, that never say die, that being rejected at a young age at different academies and keep going and keep fighting, and suddenly becoming a professional football. So that early work ethic, mentality. I've got my father to thank for me becoming a professional footballer, first of all, and of course just instilling the principles, the values in life, allowing me to become a professional.
Did growing up there make you, I don't want to say a tough person, but did it teach you how to deal with adversity?
Of course, of course. Went through when we were coming through the youth setups. There was Cape Town Spurs. It was a good academy. No, Hellenic was the biggest academy, and everybody wanted to play for Hellenic Academy. And then Cape Town Spurs started their youth, and I went to the Hellenic Academy as a trialist, as a 14-year-old. Didn't make it. And then Cape Town Spurs started their new youth academy. And that's where I started in, and that became Ajax. And so a lot of rejections, a lot of you're not good enough, you come from the wrong area, you're the wrong color, the whole works. And, you have to have a thick skin. You have to not take no for an answer to make it in the professional world. And of course, that accompanied with hard work and working non-stop, working harder than everyone else. And I think that those values, those disciplines remain with me into my coaching career.
So your father was disciplined with you, I mean, for football. What about for other things in life, like going out, I don't know, like hanging out with friends, school?
Yeah, school was very important as well. You always, even though I was in the academies and I made my professional debut at 17, just after I matriculated, well, after I finished school, because I finished school a year early. I went to school a year early. Um, and it wasn't, he forced me still to go to university, to still
What did you choose to major in?
law.
Law. Okay, wow.
Law at first, and then computer science.
Okay.
And at every after the second year, I dropped out.
Okay.
And then professional football started getting more and more hectic, and eventually I found something I love, which was coaching. So while I was playing, I started to analyze coaches, to watch coaches, to analyze the training session, my coaches, and that's where my coaching journey began.
And then just final question about your pops. I mean, obviously, he's driving you to training. He's forcing you to take everything seriously. Was he a big football fan? Is he somebody that's watching, football every weekend on television?
He was a Santos fan. He was a
Brazilian Santos?
No,
Okay.
the local.
I was gonna say.
There was a professional club in Cape Town called Santos. It was like called the People's Team, and he was a fan. And we'd go Friday nights to the stadium and
Every week almost.
Cape Town Spurs matches, and we'd see local football. So we were ingrained in the local football scene. And of course, you in the junior setup of these professional clubs, under 15, under 17, under 19, trying to make it as a professional. So we were ingrained in the football circle in Cape Town, but it was not easy. It was not easy to make the steps. With a multicultural part. We were 94. It was just the opening of the country, you could say, and there was a lot of mixing, and there was black and white and colored and everybody mixing. So it wasn't easy, but to make it as a professional eventually in South Africa was a big thing. Was a big thing.
Your brother Maher is also into coaching. He was most notably, I think, in Coach Pizzo's staff. What's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, he was my assistant before Coach Pizzo, and it was funny that our paths crossed in football. He was a youth coach at Ajax and went through the Ajax, went to Ajax Amsterdam, and he was quite involved in the youth setup. And then suddenly we found ourselves coaching together at Maritzburg under Ernst Middendorp, and that's where our journey probably went together. Same thinking about football, same type of philosophy of football, but yeah, when Coach Pizzo came and offered him the chance to go to Al Ahly, I said, you have to go. I'd love you to stay with me, but you have to go. And fantastic achievement with Coach Pizzo over there.
Is it true that people from Cape Town have a reputation for working hard, long hours?
No.
Is that true?
No. No.
It's been described to me that way as well.
Cape Town is a bit more laid back.
Okay.
Joburg is the,
You gotta grind it, dog eat
yeah,
dog.
grinding.
Yeah.
It's the capital. It's where everything happens. Cape Town's a bit more laid back, a beach, taking it easy, laid back. Yeah.
Another, is it true? Is it true that you played for under 17 Bafana?
Yes, I did.
Anybody on that team that we know of? Or?
We played in my team, no, but I remember playing against Spain. We lost 4-0. But it was Casillas, it was Xavi, it was big names that we played against. We lost 4-0 in the cup. But from my team, Leslie Maniatela, the late, was also in our team. And other than that, no one really
broke through and
made it. That came through.
Trials in Europe at Fulham and West Ham, also true?
Yes.
How did that happen?
We went actually in a school tournament, not my school, so another school that was doing a tour to Liverpool, and we played a tournament there.
So they said, we heard this kid Fadlu's good. Come play
It
for
was
us.
it was almost like they were going to Liverpool, and they tried to look for kids to join their team to make the team a bit stronger, because they were going to play in some tournament there. And yeah, we played a tournament, and some scouts got in touch, and eventually I went to West Ham and then to Fulham. And at that time it was Jermaine Defoe, Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinand training in the second team.
Such a good academy at the
Yeah,
time.
it was a fantastic experience for me at such a young age.
Maybe Joe Cole too? Joe Cole?
I did not encounter him at that stage, but Jermaine, I remember so clearly Jermaine Defoe coming to me, any good? Because he knew I'm a striker immediately. But you know, a fantastic experience. Harry Redknapp at that time, and yeah, that's, you know, going on a trial like that, you know, really opens up your thinking and makes you, it changes your perspective, your mentality, and just going there, being there, was a huge experience for me. Even though at that time, work permit, there were some ancestors, Irish, Welsh, that we could get a passport, and it was just not going to happen, because they said, look, you're on the same level, a little bit below. So as a foreigner,
to invest in the
chance.
paperwork, they want somebody exceptional.
Of course.
Yeah. Then this is a really weird one. How did you end up in Bulgaria?
Yeah, like I said, I finished my matric, so that's the end of the year, December, and in January I signed professional.
Okay.
So I played the 6 months of the season. At the end of that season, I'm not really sure. It was also out of was an agent called Adriano Zurini, and he had some links with Inter Milan. And at that moment, it was Inter Milan feeding this club in Bulgaria. So Simba Marumo, who was at Inter Milan and then went on loan, and he read my story, and so I was at West Ham and Fulham, and said, look, here's an opportunity for you.
Okay.
Go there, and went on a 2-week trial and got signed. It was first time away from home, first time away from the parents, and quite an experience.
Yeah, for sure. Again, but things that are probably opening up your imagination.
Of course, just in terms of the coaching front, you know, I arrive, we're in a pre-season camp in the mountains in the snow, and they're doing stuff like taking your heart rate, seeing how quick you recover.
You hadn't experienced that.
Haven't experienced professionalism to that degree, you know, and the training sessions structured, how we're going to play, where they changed me from a striker to a right winger. But just the coaching element, the professional element, being in a different country, of course, then experiencing financial problems, not paying, not
getting paid
receiving
on time.
salary, normal stuff, and staying one season and then going back to South Africa. So yeah, again, if I look back, and all of these experiences didn't only help me as a player, but now as a coach, you know, these experiences being in that dressing room, because in South Africa, and the same in Morocco, I speak to one of our players now that has an opportunity to go to one of the Eastern European countries, and I tell him, look, you're going to go to this dressing room. Here in Morocco, you have brothers. You have 24 brothers that love you, that embrace you, that you're part of the family. When I went there, it's like, okay, this foreigner's earning 3 times my salary. You know,
Coming to take my place.
yeah, come take my place. They don't embrace you. You're in a foreign country as a foreigner. They're struggling financially, and you earning 3-4 times their salary. So then the fight begins. Then they test you in terms of the training session. So a huge experience to be able to see that dressing room, to be able to see different coaching apart, different sessions, different sports science at that moment. So a good experience for me, and I must say that has helped me not only as a player, but now as a coach as well.
So I don't want to disrespect your very respectable playing career, but I'm just going to speed through a little bit. So yeah, Manning
Look,
Rangers.
I have to
No,
just
no, hey.
set the record. So I was not the most talented.
No, you were.
But the hard work, like I said, gave me a decent career.
I want to get to Maritzburg, because would you consider it a love story between you and the club?
Yeah, it's
You're a club legend.
interesting club, and very, very sad ending, but interesting love-hate relationship with myself and Maritzburg and the chairman.
You're the leading goal scorer ever. I mean, I think it's always special though when you're on a Wikipedia page and your name is, you go to the club records or something and your name is there.
Yeah.
You've at times, sacrificed, had to step in to sort of save the club as a player, manager, coach.
Yeah.
Supporters probably will never forget that as well. I mean, that nobody can take that away from you. Your service to Maritzburg.
Yeah, I think the city as well. It's like a small city, 1 hour away from Durban, the big city, and the people from Maritzburg is what touched my heart the most. I remember joining the club also in January, and they were almost relegated, fighting relegation. Went in and we tried to save the club, and the club went down. And then it was the decision: do I stay or do I leave?
Stayed and promoted.
After a lot of persuasion by the chairman, said, "I see you as a future captain. Stay. We're gonna bounce back." And I decided to stay, and we won promotion the very next year. So that has been the club's trajectory, up and down, and stable and not stable, and yeah. But the city and the people from Maritzburg, a special place in my heart.
So how come when I speak to I speak to a lot of colleagues, South African colleagues, everybody that knows you says that calls you a leader. The chairman just not obviously as a coach, but also as a player. How did you become a leader? What are the good qualities of a good leader? Are you just being yourself, or do you make a concerted effort to work on leadership skills?
I think later on in my coaching, in my playing career, of course, reading books, reading psychology, interested me quite big. And then I think it was, natural to a degree, but constantly working on it, constantly reading and
Observing other leaders?
observing, of course. I had the privilege to work under good coaches as well. I had the privilege to be under, and when I was 16, I played second division as well, 16, 15, where I left the youth structures. I said, I'm not going to wait. You guys aren't promoting me. And I went to play first division. And there I experienced at a young age big leaders, former professionals coming down to the first division and seeing how they do things, seeing their mentality. It's a different type of player and leadership that we had at that time. Quite abrasive, quite strong, quite aggressive, and then trying to understand what works and what does the shouting do to the psychology of a person. Why does it work with one player and why does it not work with the other player? And was quite fascinating to me. And then, of course, was the Ernst Middendorp that played a big role in my coaching career, that came back to the club and said, you're going to be captain. You take the captain's armband. So I think that probably pushed me in the direction of, okay, maybe I am a leader. Before that, it was just natural talking and directing and helping the teammates and motivating the teammates. But I think at that point, it probably changed for me.
Do you miss playing?
No.
No. Is it because you're really passionate about coaching? You found sort of your calling and you would rather do anything else? Or was it something about playing that?
I think I'm a much better coach than I was a player.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course you do something that you're good at. But I think coaching, if I could choose coaching coaching is probably better for me.
So can I ask you about Ernst Middendorp? Because I'm an Algerian. I'm sorry, I don't watch every match of the PSL. I try to catch at least a dozen a year. But when I look at his CV, it's club on Wikipedia. But then I'm listening to Big Rob interview Rolani Makwen, and he says, would you ever be an assistant again? And he says, yeah, under Coach Middendorp, I would be an assistant. And I hear you talk about him just with the highest esteem. What made him so special? Because again, if as an uninformed journalist, I look at his Wikipedia page,
yeah, he's a special person, a special coach. He's as old as he is, he's still in line with the modern trends. He's always researching. He's always going deep into psychology, into football, into tactics, into periodization, and constantly. I get a WhatsApp at 3 a.m. in the morning about a new study that was done. And then he wants my opinion on it. And our lives are busy. We're not always able to respond in the right manner. But of course, always interesting, always. And that's how I remember I did a pre-season with him and we were running it was interval running, it was stop, start, work, rest ratios, running without the ball. The preseason, I don't think we saw the ball. It was twice a day, or in the morning just physical work, and in the evening some ball work. And when I was his assistant, I went on a periodization course and sat with him and, okay, give me the feedback on the course. And I explained to him step by step, this is how it's done. This is football periodization with the football, with the tactical element in, no running without the ball. So coaching our principles and periodizing the work rest ratios in relation to that. So, okay, tomorrow we implement it.
You seem to be a big advocate of periodization. Can you explain it to someone like me that understands very little? I understand it's about like, incorporating all elements of, like coaching, and then like along a time period as well, and amping things up at the right time.
I think it's a little bit, if you talk about, and in football in my playing days, it was, you used to separate things. It was fitness, then it was psychology, then it was tactics, then it was work on technical work. Let's do a technical exercise, then let's do a tactical exercise, and then it's fitness. So they used to separate everything. And with the periodization courses, just to look at it holistically. Integrating everything. So in my periodization planning of my week, I can't leave out the managing part, what I'm going to say in the morning, when I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, when I'm going to put my arm around, when I'm going to lift the group, when I'm going to hammer the group. So that is part of the periodization plan during the week.
It sounds like so much work.
But you've got to feel the group, and you make your plan, and then you can adapt your plan. But there has to be a planning. You can't just go into the week and just feel and then go. Some managers do that, and some has a perfect intuition of what to do. But with periodization, you're planning the load, you're planning the tactical element, which technical elements, which in relation to the opponent, in relation to the growth of your team. So to plan that not only in a single training session, but for the entire week or the entire preseason or the entire block, or which context you are in, and that's what periodization is. So of course, then comes the art of coaching. You have planned in a moment to, okay, this is the day I'm going to be a bit harder. We're going to do a conditioning session. I'm going to wake them up. But then you come in the morning with the group and you feel it, and maybe this is not what the team needs right now, or you've planned a certain video session, a tactical concept that you're going to introduce today. You're going to apply on the training pitch. Tomorrow you're going to review it. But the feeling of the coach with your periodization plan can change and has to be adaptable, because football is anticipation. You have to anticipate, and you have to know, and you have to think, if I do this, I'm going to this path, or I'm going to do this, it's going to take us there. So periodization is the planning of your entire holistic view of your team, the individual, and the entire club.
Has to be done with your entire staff, usually, the fitness coach.
Of course. Everybody is part of, everybody has to have a football understanding. The fitness coach in my technical team is not allowed to use words like aerobic capacity and stuff, because it means nothing. Let's talk about, is he able to maintain his football actions? Let's talk football. Let's make it as simple as possible so we can understand and we can correct it, rather than let's use scientific words, but we're not able to really do it in a football context and fix it right there and then on the pitch.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of coaching, I have a lot to ask you about that. Did you start your coaching badges as a player?
No.
So it was when you became an assistant under Middendorp, you started doing periodization and
yes.
Because not a lot of coaches on the African continent have a UEFA Pro license. You do. You invested, I'm assuming, a lot of money and a lot of time getting yourself certified. Why? Number one. And how did it help you? And does it make you a good coach? Or is it kind of just like a thing that you can at least put on a CV and make you qualified for a job? Or does it actually improve you as a coach, you think?
I think it's important to go through that steps.
Okay.
I think I was very, very lucky. I think the stars were aligned somehow, because 20 coaches to get into a course, a UEFA Pro course, is quite hard.
Competitive.
Yeah. An FA would rather prefer Teddy Sheringham, Ricardo Carvalho, Thiago on the pro license course than a Fadlu Davids out of Africa. So it gives the prestige to their FA. These 20 coaches are selected. So I could say that probably I'm the first or the only South African that hasn't played Premier League, because Benny McCarthy, Stephen Pienaar
Yes.
has gone through the fast track process of the UEFA Pro. But I got through starting UEFA B, doing the UEFA A, and then to a certain level, could say impressing the instructors enough to be able to be accepted when the 20 candidates were selected for the UEFA Pro. So really to get onto that course, I was extremely lucky, extremely fortunate, but extremely grateful.
But what made you want to go down that path, knowing that you could probably coach in South Africa without it?
I look, like I said, I was a coach for 6 months. My journey with the injury and Coach Middendorp telling me tomorrow you're no longer captain of the team, you're my assistant the next day. And that he termed it player coach, but I never played January to the end of the season. And at the end of the season, I did my first course. I did the CAFB. And I flew to Europe to do a periodization course. And every off season after that, I flew to Europe and did a course. This periodization course, a tactical course in Barcelona, in Holland, in Belgium, every year for the rest of just flew to and invested in my coaching career. And then with the CAF A not really being accessible in South Africa, I decided to go the European route. They did UEFA B1, UEFA B1, UEFA B2, and then a year of working assignments, and then starting UEFA A. So it was a 10-year period to do the UEFA Pro, and you need to go through the steps to be able to understand exactly, and to us, especially us as former players, we have so much information in our experience, in what we've seen and but we don't have a mechanism to download this information into the player's brain systematically in a methodological way, methodological step by step, and not just throw everything. And my experience when I did this, when I did that, and I was very deliberate about not just being a former player, but really going and educating myself and being I call it a lifelong student of the game. And I will continue to go and I probably get it from Ernst that at his age is still learning and still going, trying to get the latest trends, because football is always moving, football is evolving. And that was my journey. Every year, investing, traveling, and seeing different teams, different courses, UEFA B, UEFA A, periodization courses, tactical courses, and I think that has shaped me. And then, of course, also being under a coach like Ernst, coming with his way of doing things and his way of implementing things, and then just putting it all together and having my way of how I want to see football.
I want to ask you about South African coaches. I think it's common knowledge now that South Africa probably produces the best coaches in Africa. Maybe you could throw Morocco in there as well. Like Tunisia probably produces the best fitness coaches, or they have over the last 10 to 20 years. Why? Is it because even the people that follow my channel, most of them are from South Africa, because they like to, I don't know, they like the analysis of the game. It seems like it's not just coaches, it's video analysts, it's players, it's fans as well. What's going on in South Africa that makes people so interested in learning, teaching the game? What is it?
I think because we weren't licensed before. CAF A was not in South Africa up until a couple of years ago, where Walter Steenbok came and reintroduced the CAF A license. CAF Pro license just started now in the first edition. I think there's a second edition coming soon. And South African coaches did not have the necessary skills to be able to go abroad. And when Pitso made the step and was really successful, and that was, Sundowns that opened up the doors, doing very well against Al Ahly and these big clubs, and Patrice Motsepe's dream about conquering Africa and always being in the Champions League quarterfinal, semi-final. And he took the step to Al Ahly and he showed that, it's possible. And, that kind of, the light bulb went on and say, look, we can do it. And if you talk about South Africa and the diversity, we call ourselves the Rainbow Nation, we have to deal with array of different cultures and personalities and backgrounds, and the wealthy, the dirt poor, the middle class, and different cultures coming out of different areas. Cape Town is completely different to Johannesburg, completely different to Durban, is completely different to Bloemfontein, and to be a coach there is it's hard enough, you know. And the next step is the players haven't gone through the basic level of, if you talk about it, primary school, high school, university. They haven't gone through academies. The talent is there, but it's street football.
It's raw.
And now to be able to get this player who cannot control a ball properly, but he can dribble 5 players, to fit into your tactical structure, you have to be you have to be creative. You have to be adaptable. You have to get sometimes your own players to coach him rather than you coach him, because he relates better in his language, or he understands him better, so he understands you and you coach him.
Have you done that before?
Well, of course, of course. Sometimes you coach your spine and they coach the rest. Sometimes it's 2-3 players that really understands you and what you're going to do and how you change during a match, different formations, and they click and they take the leadership and they do it and they implement it. And that's how I think, if you talk about South African coaches, they're dealing with this diversity, this thinking on your feet on a daily basis in the South African league. And I think that is why I think more South African coaches can coach abroad. There's different cultures, different languages, different, and you have to adapt, you have to feel, you have to know the dressing room. It's man management. It's the skills and the knowledge is there, because the knowledge is there now with social media. It's the knowledge and the information is out there. So it's just about how you apply it right now.
I'm not going to waste my time asking you about favorite formations or playing styles. But if you could, let's say this is PlayStation, and you could pick your favorite 11 players and put them on a team, and then you have a game model in mind. What are maybe some snapshots from that game model, maybe?
It's all midfielders.
Positionless midfielders. Everybody does everything.
No position. There's no position. For me, there's no positions in football. It's just play and space, and midfielders that understand the game, probably. Of course, you do need a bit of speed as well. But yeah, it's. I think it's all relative to your team, to the league, to. Of course, we all want to. I hate 50-50 balls. I hate balls into an area and you don't know whose ball it is. So I'm meticulous about building through the lines and creating this superiority within your build-up structure. So that's why I say midfielders. I want to have the ball. I get very nervous when I don't have the ball for a long time, and so the midfielders will keep the ball. And of course, the game is about scoring goals, and that's where me as a striker coming in. I love players who always want to feel the net. I hate it because during my exercise break, and you're supposed to get 2 minutes to get water, and you're kicking 3 balls into the net. But a striker has to have that. There has to be, and these days, not only the strikers, it's the attacking players, it's the midfielders that have to have that love for scoring goals. And only a few players have that. In South Africa, if we go through the culture of South Africa, it's street football, and the goals, it never gives anyone a feeling of, because there are no goals with nets. It's two rocks and you kick the ball through. So scoring a goal, the ball rolls far away and doesn't give you that satisfaction.
You associate it with going to get the ball rather than...
Of course, you rather dribbling 5 players and the crowd is, and that's a little bit South Africa's problem. They're not goal hungry. We can do everything else, but putting the ball in the back of the net, the most difficult part in football, we're not the best at. So yeah, my ideal team is a team that scores goals, but we always have the ball.
So you've been assistant for the majority of your coaching career since you started. Usually, I think handling training sessions, I imagine, a lot of technical work. Now you're a head coach, and head coach means usually, you have to deal with things like transfers. You have to deal with the board. You have to deal with media. You have to deal with supporters. How's that transition been like? Do you like it? Sometimes because me, I'm a journalist, and sometimes people ask me like, you want to be an editor? And I don't want to be an editor. I don't want to deal with other people's work. I'd rather deal with my own work. I'm a technician in that sense. I want to tell a story. Yeah. How do you deal with it? Have you found some things that maybe you don't like so much about being the head coach? And do you ever feel nostalgic for being an assistant coach?
Look, I also like empowering people. So I was a very hands-on assistant coach. And I think as a head coach, I like to be on the pitch. I like to be doing the training sessions myself, but I also like to observe. So I'm just finding that balance now between being on the pitch and taking every training session or not, so that balance of doing both. I think I was quite fortunate to be an assistant that was in charge of the training methodology, the training sessions, putting up the plan, doing everything basically from A to Z. Under most of my head coaches that I've been with, and I think I'm leaning towards that. Coach Darian at the moment, he's the one in charge, of course. I have to give the thumbs up. I have to give him the clear structure of what we are doing, when we are doing it, in relation to the periodization plan. But the details of if we're training zone 2 attack or zone 3 attack or zone 1 attack, like pulling up from our own box, create the exercise. There are certain elements or certain concepts that we are working on, and he knows what are the basis of what we are doing, but allow my assistant to allow my assistant to take the coaching session, and I step in when need to be. So I'm loving both. I love being on the pitch. I love doing the managing part, of course, building the squad. Beginning of the season was very busy transfer window in assembling the squad that we did with Simba. And that was quite an interesting experience as well, building the squad for Champions League. So uh, I can say I enjoy every aspect of coaching, being in charge and being on the pitch, being an assistant. I just love coaching. That's
I'm skeptical. You like dealing with media. You like dealing with board members. You like dealing with
look, it has to be done. Media interviews and press, and it's not
myself
it's
accepted.
not really not really the best, and you won't see me on a lot of interviews or podcasts or things like that. But building your squad. I
That's
think
okay. That's
building the squad,
got it.
seeing the team play in your image, getting the team to understand what you want, executing on the pitch, winning, of course, the whole process. And that is sometimes sitting with your board members, that is sometimes talking about recruitment for hours, that is sometimes talking about your squad, what is needed, thinking long term, thinking short term. Those part of course, everybody loves to be on the grass, and on the pitch, interacting with the players in the dressing room, the meetings, seeing. Like today, for instance, we did a meeting, and the two youngsters, the two strikers that were promoted, 16-year-old, 18-year-old, and we did a pressing meeting, and I said afterwards, we're going to question you on what we did.
Scare them a little bit.
and throughout the session, and we did the pressing exercise, and throughout the session, they were looking and don't call me now and ask me. But that growth of a young player. The 2 days before, the striker came to me and said, "Coach, when you talk about pressing or cutting or pressing the center back, you spoke about body shape, you spoke about what did you mean, and those are the things that light you up as a coach. You want to give that information to a young player that is not only going to help him for now, but that is going to empower him for the rest of his career. So those are the small things of coaching that
it's rewarding.
Nobody speaks about. Nobody speaks about, but those are the wins, the small wins that you get on a daily basis.
And sometimes those relationships last long past.
Of course.
Because I think even at Maritzburg, somebody told me that some of the ball boys ended up becoming players.
Yes, we
It's quite cool.
Yeah, we had 3 ball boys that became very important players of the team. Yeah,
must have made you feel good.
Yeah, fantastic. I was a player at that time, and they were the player told me, when you scored the winning goal, I was the ball boy, and now you're my coach. I said, well done, from ball boy to main player in the team.
So I think personally an extremely underrated part about being a good coach is building the right staff around you. You've mentioned Darian Wilkin. You're also here with Moise Kaji and Wayne Sandilands, as well as with some local staff members, some Moroccan ones. You had Rido at Simba. How do you find the right assistants? What qualities do you look for? How important is it to have the right technical staff around you? And then with your team in particular, seem to have a lot of loyalty, one and the other. How did you guys sort of?
I think the staff is probably the most important, because for them to understand if or to come to a club like Simba or was very important for me to come with my staff, or coming to Raja was very important for me to come, like I said, 4 days trainings, 4 training sessions, and then the first match. So if you are still coaching your staff, it takes a bit takes too much time. We
It's
can
about
say,
efficiency.
yeah, efficiency. We know exactly what we are doing on what day, why we are doing it. We know they can ask any of my staff a question and they'll give exactly the same answer. So that clarity for the players is so important, and that's why having competent people around you that understand your vision, your understanding of football and how you do things, it's so important. And nobody underestimates the fitness part of it as well, because fitness coaches have to be football coaches. They have to understand they cannot isolate and fitness from football. We have to do it holistically. So it was very important. Darren Wilkin, he was an analyst at Orlando Pirates in my time when I joined the club, and he then became my assistant at Maritzburg and then moved with me. When we had the opportunity to come to Raja, and Joe Zunbauer said, okay, please, are we going to Raja? I said, look, I know you want me to come and help you. He says, look, I'm managing the board. It's a big club. You do the training. I said, I don't come without my staff. With Darren, with Muiz Kaji, and we went. And then when we had the opportunity with Simba, of course, they went with me. Of course, Wayne Sandilands were not able to go to Raja, but he then joined us at Simba. So, having these competent, quality staff members are so vital in a team environment. And of course, you have to deal with the local staff as well, empower them. In Simba, we had Coach Matola, and the logistics of the league, the type of team you're playing, the coach that has been there for a long time, old school, modern methodology. These type of things you have to embrace the local staff as well. Is very important.
Just one final quick thing about Darian. People rate him very highly as well. You think he's going to make a good coach one day?
No, he's already a top coach.
Head coach.
Of course. And I told him, once he get his pro license, he has to be a head coach. He cannot stay with me any longer.
Is that kind of like letting your kid go to school away from?
Also, I'm very proud of how he was at an analyst, and you see the potential as a coach. You see the personality, you see the aura, you see how he handles meetings, and can you relate to players? Can you do the analysis on the pitch as well, the same as you do in a meeting room? So how he's taken that steps and how he's grown as a coach is remarkable, and he's definitely going to be one of the best, one of the top coaches in the future.
So one of the things, again, when I speak to colleagues, they all rate you very highly. The best, if not one of the best, if not the best South African coaches. There's one thing that frustrates mostly everybody, is they say that they've never seen you with the right conditions for like 2-3 years. You arrive at a club and you're inheriting a squad. It's not your squad. Or you arrive at a club and there's some kind of instability at the board level. Has that been a point of frustration for you as well? Do you not just want like 2-3 years at a single club under the right conditions to really see what you can do to challenge for things like the Champions League?
Of course. That was probably one of the big reasons for me coming to Raja. When I had a chat with the president and the board, and coming to a club that can win Champions League. No disrespect to Simba, and I really bought into the president's vision, and it was a very difficult decision because of my close relationship with the president, and that still hurts me today. That I had to take the step to go to Raja, but he knows why. If it was just him, I'd probably still be at Simba.
Okay.
But the club is a little bit divided, and taking that step with the club at Raja. Of course, in football and at big clubs, there is no long-term project.
There's no guarantee as well.
There's no long-term project. 3 losses and you're out.
Yep.
So we hope, inshallah, to stay here for the next 3 years, or to build something sustainable, and the president has that vision. But of course, at big clubs, and we want to be at big clubs. We want to be at clubs where the pressure is there to win every day. At a club like Raja, at a club like Simba, at a club like Orlando Pirates, a draw is considered a loss.
Yes.
So that pressure, that challenging yourself on a daily basis, no taking your foot off the pedal, and yes, you want to build something sustainable, have a few windows to be able to build a squad in your image to be able to challenge and be in the Champions League and quarterfinal, semi-final, final, of course. But football is always unpredictable. And
particularly in North Africa. I mean, how do you balance that the demand of results, because we all know this is a results-based business, versus the process, like you say, sometimes it's a 3-match window, three consecutive losses, you could be out.
Yeah.
So as a coach, how do you approach that? Like when it's like, okay, I really want to put in place this process, this way of playing with this group of players, but maybe I need to be pragmatic versus in this match, and I don't know. Is that something that you have to tussle with?
I think if you believe in the way you are playing and your philosophy is going to give you the result,
Okay.
you don't have to bypass your principles. So I always try to get to a club and think about what we are building for the future, for the next 5 years. Even though I leave in the next year and a half, whatever the reason might be, but you have to go into the club with that thinking, put in the 3-year, 5-year plan, and see the 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds that are going to be big Raja players in the future. And at the same time, if you really believe in the way you're working, the way your principles and how you approach a match, I believe in this is the way it's going to give me the 3 points. Then there's no conflict. So it's not about being pragmatic. It's not about saying, hey, let's hit the ball into the box and play with the second ball. There's none of that. We're going to play our way. We're going to do it because I believe it's the best way to win a match. So, and every match you have to win.
Even when there are variables like home and away in a CAF Confederation Cup or in a Champions League, again, I'm uninformed journalist, but it seems unrealistic to say, we're going to try to get, I don't know, 60% possession, 70% possession against Al Ahly in Egypt or something like that. Like it's...
Yeah, look, then if it comes to moments like that, it's about where you're going to press. Are you going to allow them to play into your second zone, or are you going to sit a bit deeper in your first zone on the edge of your box? And if you believe that pressing them high up the pitch is going to help you, you do it. And they are always, if you believe in, and you have to have the players. If I'm going to press high and I have extremely slow centre backs that are always going to be on the halfway line, of course, it's going to be difficult to implement that. So then it's a step process. Okay, we're going to press in high up zone 2 because we don't want to leave too much space for Mbappe type striker that is going to expose us on with the space behind. So when you come into the club, you deal with what you have. You deal with what you have, and in the process, you are building. In the process, there are certain players that you are using that might not be in the next 6 months, but you have to use him now because these are the players you have at this moment. So, and that's what you have to do as a coach coming into a new club. You cannot say that this is not my player, this is not my player. Each player has his skills, has his quality to be able to provide a certain role. And if it fits into your system, you have to fit him into the system that you have at that moment. And then you are building your processes from there.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit skeptical, coach. I think even if you have your dream 11, I don't think there's any way that, okay, maybe this is going to be...
Well, let me give you an example. We come to a club like Simba. We have a relatively young squad.
Rebuilding after many years of success.
They've recruited a squad 18 to 23, 24.
Okay. Yep.
Talented players, but playing in Ivory Coast, playing in leagues that are not top level. We're going through the league, no problem. Comes to the CAF competition. We have to educate them about what is CAF about. We have to educate them that not the team that plays the best football wins CAF. We have to educate them about set pieces in CAF. We have to educate them about quick free kicks. We have to educate them about time wasting. We have to educate them about what the CAF tournament is about, different to the league.
Atmosphere, going to North Africa.
Going here, going there, playing on bad pitches. And then when we went to this CAF competition, and our first match was Al Ahly Tripoli, away from home.
Tough match.
And said, okay, there are going to be moments we want to press. There will be moments where we want to have the ball, but we don't. We cannot. So what is the mindset then? Do we then drop, or do we stay compact in zone 2? So you are preparing the players. You have your philosophy, you have your style, but this is our moment to suffer.
Yeah, agreed.
So are we going to suffer together, or are 2-3 players going to high press? So these are then the core fundamentals of the match. These are our core principles. And when we coach a team that is going to dominate 60% possession, we have to coach zone 1 defending. We have to know exactly what to do in which area of the pitch, with the ball, without the ball, in transition. Our principles are clear. So when we speak about, okay, if we talk about zone 3 attack and we talk about zone 1 defending, of course, 60, 70, 80% of our training sessions are geared towards zone 3 attack, zone 2 attack. But we have to cover zone 1 defending.
For sure.
We have to, because in a 90 minutes match, we're going to be in zone 1. We have to know if we're going with a full chain or we're going with a broken chain. We have to know, are we man marking or are we defending zonal? We have to know exactly what to do, when to do it. So when we are facing Al Ahly Tripoli away. Our zone 1 principles are zone 1 principles. Let's apply our principles. Let's stick to what we believe in. Let's stick to what's going to make us successful. Let's stick to our principles without the ball in zone 1, without the ball in zone 2, without the ball in zone 3. These are our core principles. So let's stick to our game model, our game philosophy. And when we have to suffer in zone 1, let's do it together.
That makes sense. I want to ask you about derbies, the psychology of coaching in a derby, because you've coached in, I'm assuming, Pirates and Chiefs, Simba Yanga, and then Raja Wydad. Three of the best on the African continent. Do you enjoy those matches? Are you stressed?
I love those matches.
Why?
They're my favorite matches. I think to see, I think you get to really see the type of players you have. You get to really see the core essence of the player. Is able to handle, is able to be himself. Does he thrive in these type of matches, or does he shy away? And this is where you get to understand your players, their core essence. And of course, when you play these matches, there's no instructions on the bench. There's some hands and movements and whatever, they can't hear you. They can't hear you. So you have to trust your players on the one hand. And this is where you really get to understand your team the most, And of course, everybody wants to play in a full stadium every week. That is the feeling. Football without fans is not football. So these matches brings, it's just what football is about. And I love these matches to be able to get to understand my players. And after the match, you have so much information to process, to digest, to be able to build your team. We won this match, but we were not good. Why? Because A, B, C. And you can dissect it, and you can work on it, and you can build your team from there. Because normally after a win, everything is fine. You don't get to see the details but when you lose a match, you really you dive deep. But in a derby, and you feel it sometimes where it's a lucky win in a derby, and you dissect, you go in and you say, okay, the mentality, the mindset here, it's not the same here. And sometimes you don't pick the best players for the derby, but the best team and the players with the best mentality to be able to perform under such conditions.
Can you compare the three?
Sorry?
Can you compare them? Similarities and differences? I mean,
the younger Simba derby is very similar to the South African Chiefs Pirates derby.
In what way?
Just in terms of the sounds in the stadium, the sounds, the vuvuzelas, the come alive if there's an action. In Morocco is just a special place of ultras and songs and tifos, and it's a spectacle. And we feel it in our home matches. Feels like a derby because ultras are there. And just the feeling in Morocco and the fans in Morocco is completely different to its songs. It's non-stop for 90 minutes, and this gives a special feeling. And when the opponent has the ball, it's whistles all along. It's just that's why I said the Yanga and Simba derby is very similar. The Orlando Pirates Chiefs derby is a special derby because you have fans sitting together. Mother Pirates, it's not
the households are split.
Yeah, the households are split, but everybody's sitting everywhere.
Yeah.
And in Wydad Raja, it's green 50, and it's red. The same at Simba, but I think it's a little bit more friendly Simba Yanga, but Wydad and Raja is not friendly at all. It's if the fans, I think, meet each other on the road, they could be trouble.
I remember the 2019 African Cup of Nations final, Algeria versus Senegal. We win that match 1-0, African champions for the second time. And the coach, the first thing he said in the press conference, Jamal Belmadi, he said, finals are not meant to be played, they're meant to be won, which I sort of understood as like, Who cares about principles of play? Who cares how we played? The point is we won the match. What about are derbies meant to be won and not meant to be played, or
I think finals more. Okay. Finals more. Derbies are a little bit more special.
So let me ask you about finals, because you lost 3. Sorry, 2022, 2025, and then the Nedbank in 2017.
And I think I've learned a little bit the hard way.
So I was gonna ask you about that, because the other thing, not mean to name drop or anything, but I remember I interviewed Drogba, and he said finals. He lost many. The 2006 AFCON, 2012 AFCON. He never really won the AFCON. He lost Champions League finals. And he was saying, like, those are the matches that stick with him the most. He remembers almost every single detail. He doesn't remember much about when they won against Bayern, the Champions League. But is it similar with you? And like,
no, exactly. Derbies as well. You know, the younger derbies sticks with me forever. And it has to be won. I agree with that, and I've had to learn the hard way, because in my first final, I think we totally dominated, and one mistake on the halfway line, player dribbling, and they got the ball, they scored. You can have all the possession, you can play how well. At the end of the day, there's only one winner, and everybody remembers the winner, and that's it. And so I agree with that, and I've had to learn the hard way in relation to that. And it's a different mindset, it's a different mentality, it's a different, you have your principles, you have your core things that you want to do, but slightly a little bit more pragmatic, slightly a little bit more conscious of the mentality and the mindset, and not being wild, and sticking to the basics and sticking to the structure. It's a little bit more important than having the perfect tactical mechanism that's going to unlock the defense. It's more about mindset, it's more about staying together, it's more about feeling energy, and doing the basics well.
Let's just finish the interview by talking about your stint now at Raja. Does Casa feel like a second home, kind of like after
Yes,
Cape
it
Town?
does. It does.
My
family loves Casa. My staff's family love Casa. They love Casablanca, and we really enjoy it here.
How important in North Africa is it to understand the history of a club, the psychology of the club, the fan culture, to have success there? Is it important, or are you just focused on training ground, match?
I think it's important to know, because we could win every week, and or maybe win with set pieces or win with long balls, and our fans won't be happy. Raja demands a certain type of style of football. And
how did you learn that? Is it by speaking to people, reading, watching?
I think when I came, and of course you watch documentaries, and you see where the influence come from. But of course, when you are here, when you were on here the first time, and you understood from the fans, from the locals, what they appreciated, from the ultras, what they appreciated. And you can watch many documentaries, but being on the ground and feeling the fans and feeling the heartbeat of the country, and knowing that Raja fans demand a certain style, that was only during our time here, only during our successful period here, that we really understood what it meant to the fans. We won the double, but we still had to play a certain type of football. That was very important. And then, of course, coming here, it was easy, knowing that, understanding in the right moment, in the right moment, with the president change, with the committee change, with the club structure change, that was important for us coming back this time.
And how did you know it was the right moment to come back? Is it because you spoke to people at the club? Do you have an idea? Did you have an idea of who the new president was, or who the new board was, or?
You don't turn down a club like Raja 3 times.
Fair. Fair.
I think
but sometimes you can be stepping into a toxic situation too.
The other time, we knew what was happening with our previous president, fantastic president Budrika, but he was unfortunately away, and what happened, and the club was going through turmoil. Of course, us being here, you're always speaking to people within the club, what is happening, what is going on. And you knew that the club wasn't stable at that moment. So in the moment of last season, and it was very tough for the players playing in such a demanding atmosphere and not performing. Then it's probably the most difficult. But with the change, with the new president coming in, with Marcel Maroc coming in to Raja, was the perfect moment with a structured, clear ambition, clear direction in which the club is moving, was the perfect moment to come.
So you've been in charge for 5 matches. You've won 3. You've drawn 2 against top opponents, Wydad and Fez. I mean, top 5 teams at the moment in the Botola. So I seems like the results are okay. You're only 2 points off the top of the table. What was the biggest challenge, like coming in, being parachuted in, so, towards the end of the transfer window, and then, yeah, you've already been in this situation before. You're a chef. You're being handed ingredients. You didn't go to the store and buy them.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge in terms of the time constraints for those first 5 matches in particular?
I think it was installing a playing style and getting results. Because hearing of what happened before, they were not really happy with the way they were playing. They were not really happy with the intensity of matches, intensity of training in the pre-season. And so you come into a situation where the whole club was down. And immediately it was about instilling what I knew best. Was our playing style. How are we going to build up from the back? How are we going to attack in the final third? How are we going to press? And I had 5 sessions. That's why I say the staff is so important. And of course, in your first match, in the next point, you have to win. You have to get the result. You have to put, not knowing all the players. There was 8 players left from the last time that helped, that understood how I see football, how my staff sees football. So that made it slightly easier. But just giving them a direction and giving them a view of where we're going and what we are doing and why we are doing it. I think that was the most important. And then the next point is building this brotherhood. This gives you an extra 10%. Building this
How do you do that? Like team building activities?
It's team culture. It's in relation.
How do you install a team culture? Like, is it going to our dinners together? Is it?
No, it's sometimes a simple thing like coming to a meeting on time. 1 minute late is late. And before, maybe coming 2 minutes late to a meeting was okay. Respecting your teammate, creating boundaries, creating a clear structure, creating a recipe for success. We want success, but we don't know how. Follow these things, respect each other, respect the structure on the field, off the field, and become one. And become one. If you're coming late for a meeting, you are basically disrespecting not only the staff, but your teammates. They have to sit and wait for you. And everybody knew the meeting was at 8 o'clock. Everybody has to be there 8 o'clock. And these are like small things. I'm not saying that it wasn't there before, but this is where we want to go. We all have this ambition. Everybody wants to get back in the Champions League. Everybody wants to lift trophies. So let's stay on this path. And if anyone is deviating off the path, bring him back. Bring him back with the group. Let's build this mentality, this culture, this winning formula. And this is the formula. Trust me, this is the formula of success. And let's follow it. So I think the most important thing for the club and for the players as well was creating a clear playing style, knowing what we are going to do with the ball in zone 1, with the ball in zone 2, with the ball in zone 3. Knowing what we're going to do without the ball in zone 3, in zone 2, zone 1. What are we going to do in transition moments? Really clear steps, principles in relation to how we see football. And once everybody could understand, and of course you can't do it in 4 training sessions. You have to prioritize before the first match. Or what is the opponent? What do we need to focus on?
That's what we call being pragmatic.
Of course. Well, what is going to give us the result in relation to our process? So we have this philosophy or game model, and how do we download it into the players' brains? We have this period, 5 matches, 4 training sessions. What are the priorities to help us win, to build a culture, to introduce ourselves? And I think that was the most important, giving the players the direction we are moving.
Okay.
And then getting everyone to jump aboard.
The last time when you were talking about that record breaking double when you were at Raja, I think there were also some, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw. And then you guys had a prolonged break, and then you came back and the results came win, win, win. This time around, the AFCON has provided you with a break of several weeks as well. What have you guys targeted? Is it the same thing, just trying to get the team up to speed with your playing style? And then are you happy with the progress that you guys have made so far?
Yeah, I'm very happy. We've had now 4 weeks. We've had 10 days in Saudi. And of course, some players were with Coupe Arab, and some players are now in the AFCON. But you work with what you have. Of course, a lot of meetings and recruitment meetings in relation to finding the right players to fit the system, to fit the club, to fit the philosophy, and of course, getting them to play at the intensity we want. If it's a high pressing, if it's counter pressing, you need a certain type of fitness to be able to execute that while knowing your position, knowing what to do, like I explained in different zones. So this is our time to work on the pitch. These are the time. 8 weeks is not normal for preseason. We had 3 weeks off, and now it's an 8 week preseason periodization plan. And of course, we've broken it up in the first phase, second phase, and third phase. We're currently in the second phase. Towards the end of the second phase, we start to load matches. So 3 matches per week. What we are going to face in the second round of the season, because it's 23 matches to be played, plus hopefully 8 cup matches in 4 months.
All has to be done
So,
before the World Cup. FIFA is adamant on that, and Moroccan Federation is adamant
of
on that.
course.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna
we
be
know
intense.
what the schedule is going to be like. So of course, this we have to prepare the players
And
for this type of schedule. So that's what we're working on right now, and I'm very happy with our progress so far. Or what we've been doing.
maybe almost lucky that you guys are not in the CAF interclub competitions this year, because that would even add even more stress, maybe, to try and secure good results. Goals for the rest of the season, I'm assuming. I mean, you're at Raja. It's going to be Botola and all competitions, all
All
matches.
competitions, all matches, no draw allowed.
And then finally, just the last question is long-term future. I mean, obviously, we spoke about it. You want to be here for as long as possible. You want to win trophies at this club. I'm always curious, though, as an African football journalist, we don't really have many examples, if any at all, of coaches that start from here and end up, in top 5 European league. These are, it's uncharted territory. It has to be broken. Somebody has to break through the glass ceiling one day. Is it something that crosses your mind? Are you just completely focused on where your feet are?
Always. And my Darren, my assistant, as well. We always looking. We always trying to meet the right people to be able to give us. It's a courageous president to say, I'll take the first African coach from South Africa and give him a chance at my club, where you're in charge of the entire franchise, the entire. But it has to be broken. It has to be broken. We just have to do well where we are. We cannot control where we are going, what we are doing, but we can control the year now. We can control what we are doing now at Raja, and hopefully a successful period year will open up the doors at a later stage in our careers to take that step. It is always at the back of our minds to be able to find that opportunity, to be able to find that step. But Allah knows.
Yeah. Wishing you all the best, coach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.